Okay, well, good afternoon. Hope everybody can hear me okay. This is a new thing for us doing an educational moment. It's meant to be just a quick fix, a quick hit of a sort of change tracker NNT update. The one that we're covering today, which is pretty interesting, is all to do with remediation. We're well known for auditing, assessments and breach detection. What we in the past have sort of left you to do is we provide you with lots of remediation guidance. We let you go off, configure your group policy or your remediation scripts and essentially carry out your own in-house hardening procedure through your own means. What I'm going to show you today is a big helping hand. We've put together some remediation scripts, policies, templates. I'll show you how we can use those and then we'll make those available to you. So let's get to it. As we go along, there's a chat window, so if you want to ask any questions, use that facility, because I'm going to put the lines on mute so that we don't get any background noise. There's also a questionnaire at the end, so if you want to stick in a request straight away to get your hands on some of this remediation content, please do so. Otherwise, any other feedback you want to give us about the event today, please let us have both barrels, and we'll do our best to improve things for the future. Okay, so hopefully this is reasonably familiar ground to you. Anyone who's familiar with NNT will kind of know that we're all about configuration assessments. So we've got a very broad range of reports that we can sort of aim at a device, run an audit and let you know where it's not as secure as it could be, should be, and then we provide remediation advice. On a Windows platform, that's all drawn from the security policy primarily. I mean, we look at registry settings, we look at file system settings, user accounts, other elements that all contribute towards the security of the machine. On our Linux platforms or database platforms, we use other means to look at the config settings, but essentially we use a Center for Internet Security template for that. The CIS are the foremost leader in providing secure configuration guidance, and NNT are one of the few certified vendors for CIS benchmarks. That means that we work directly with the CIS. They look very closely at the accuracy of the information we provide, and you've got to be right on your toes to get a CIS certification. Take a look at their website. It's a pretty exclusive club, and certainly when you get into doing what we do, which is not just the snapshot audit of a machine. Plenty of scanners can provide a sort of a snapshot score. What we do is not only score it, but then track compliance with that secure hardened posture over time. So the scanner, okay, it's only as good as the moment that the scan was run, whereas NNT will provide continuous ongoing protection and that very sensitive forensic breach detection that we provide. Now, in the past, what we've done is provided you with an output. We've shown you where you can improve your score, and we've provided remediation guidance. And I'll show you an example of a report. We've got a live demo coming up in a moment. The challenge with that is obviously, to begin with, you've got to comb through all of the settings. Typically, there's several hundred of these, quite technical, quite detailed. And you've either got to do that on a machine-by-machine basis, or if you're using some sort of a statewide, group policy, or even some sort of Puppet or Chef mass deployment of those config updates, you've got to build the template. You've then got to pick your moment to point it at the machines, and there's a reasonable amount of work that we leave you to do. Okay, so the innovation that we're talking about today is the concept of a configuration remediation kit. So the kit comprises obviously the platform, the change tracker platform, the reports. These are the CIS certified reports which cover all Windows operating systems, Linux operating systems, And something that's very topical at the moment is for desktop applications. So the very real fear of the threat from ransomware is something that's got all of us running a little bit scared. And so what we do for these things is we target the entry point. That's typically the browser that's used, clicks on the link that gets you the sort of drive-by infection of the malware, the ransomware, or the attachment, so exploiting vulnerabilities in either the email application or the sort of Office, the Word attachment, the Excel macro, those sort of things. And we provide a whole range of not just vulnerability assessments for those applications, but remediation kits as well, so we can automate the fixing, if you like, the mitigation of those vulnerabilities can be done automatically using one of the templates that we provide you. Of course, as I mentioned a moment ago, the great thing is that if you use NNT Change Tracker to do this, it doesn't end there. It's not like a simple scan of the device. It's an ongoing, continuous tracking and reporting if any of those settings are changed, which could weaken the security of the system. We'll report that, and on a wider scale basis, any other parameter, any other system integrity change, so new files, file changes, registry changes, services, process lists, any of those that change, we'll also monitor and report on those. The great thing is that that leaves us nice and secure, locked down. Okay, so hopefully for most people this will be reasonably familiar. It's a Change Tracker Gen 7 dashboard. I've dialed in here, you see I've got a specific filter for this educational moment group that I've applied, and within that I've just got one device which is a Windows 10 desktop machine. You can see that from the stats that we've pulled back. Now, what's important here is that this is in pretty default configuration. You see here I've already run a report earlier on this afternoon. I'm actually on UK time here, but not a great score, 26%, lots of vulnerable, exploitable settings left within this machine. And what I can do is review those settings here. You see wherever I get a failure, we'll actually provide a remediation advice. So we tell you what in the group policy or the security policy has got to be changed to improve security on that device. And that all comes back to the security policy here, which I'll take a look at. Now, before I get into this, what I'm going to do is show you the remediation procedure. And I'm going to do that live, so because it's a group policy update, that's going to involve a reboot of the machine, a reconfiguration at the base level. So that takes a couple of minutes, even with the fast laptop that I'm using. So let's kick that off now, and then we can talk a little bit about what's involved with that whilst that's doing its repair and reboot. So here's the Windows 10 desktop. You can see here it's on a different machine, 109, and if I minimise to show the desktop, you can see that that's a Windows 10 machine, plain old desktop interface for that. What I'm going to use for the demonstration is a thing called local GPO. The reason for doing this is just to simplify the demonstration and also show you that even if you're not a group policy user or an NNT customer, if you want to just have a little toe in the water experimentation with this, you can do it on a standalone machine. You don't have to go in creating new groups in your group policy domain controller. So this is just a free download from Microsoft. I've already installed that on this particular machine. What I've also done is I've downloaded the NNT remediation kit for the Windows 10 machine. The way that these CIS reports are orchestrated is that there's different profiles. So there's a level 1 profile which gives us the reasonable level of security. That's backed up with a level 2 if you want to go sort of high security. And there's also an option for BitLocker. As with any group policy template, there's a user setting and a machine setting. So what I'm going to do now, the local GPO tool works from the command line. So I'm going to dial this in. You can see this is the computer settings policy. So let's kick that off. So this is just the tool executing. It's making a policy update on the host. So you can see here it's taken the group policy template that I've specified, and it's now applying that. It writes directly to the registry for the machine, so it's applying policy settings now. I haven't applied the user settings, so the outcome of this will be I'll get a big improvement in the security of the machine, but for speed I'll just apply that one template for now. It then prompts you to restart the machine. So I could have just dived into one of those other templates, but because we've taken a bit more time than I would have liked to do this, let's just kick off the restart now for that machine. So that's going to go away and reboot. Now, while that's restarting, and it is a pretty quick machine, it won't take too long. I'll just show you what's going on there. So just the background, the whole user settings. So when we talk about, as I showed you there, we've got a computer policy and a user policy. That basically maps here. So we've got the computer configuration, and then we've got the user level configuration, and it's just the way that the things are organized on a Microsoft security policy. So the key elements are here with the local security policy. So we've got a whole bunch of technical security options. So let's rerun that report now. Hopefully, if that machine has restarted, so it's telling me that it's offline, but let's just see if we can connect to that. Yeah, so it certainly is back and in business. So that report's working away. Essentially what will happen is the report, the agent calls in, it picks up any new instructions. It does that every 30 seconds. And in this case, it's picked up my request for an update on this report. So right now, the agent is running that report locally. It takes a couple of minutes because you know, there's a lot of settings to work through. So down at this level, if there's the user rights assignment, these are pretty technical. I mean, all of these things are pretty technical in terms of the makeup and construction, but applying that computer policy to this machine will have corrected a lot of the non-advised settings that are on that machine. So you can imagine doing this manually following remediation guidance, even at a group policy template level, to build your template before you push it out. It's going to take you, a couple of quiet hours. The great news is, and when you import our policy, which will effectively look just like this, have all the settings set correctly, if you don't want to go as secure as the level 2 profile, but you want to take most of the aspects, the best idea is to just import that template, and then you can slack off any of these. So if you want to change any of these settings on the machine, so if you don't want to use user access control, you can take those out, but at least the report that we'll have given you is a shortcut. And you see there, I'll just refresh that. So that report that ran live now, 7:14, you can see my local time is 7:16 here. That's run, and the remediation kit has worked. That's taken me up on the level 1 just by providing the computer settings. If I was to log back into this machine again and then run the user settings, I'll be getting up much closer to something like 99% on that machine. But that's the demonstration I wanted to cover. If I just drag over my policies here, if I take you into here, you'll see here that I've got a big bunch of remediation kits. The Linux ones look no different really. If I dive into one of these, what you'll find is that there's a Puppet manifest, so it effectively comes as a shell script file, so you can run that directly on the target machine, or you can import that as a Puppet manifest, have that pushed out, run remotely on your endpoints. And as you can see here, we've got a whole bunch for Red Hat 6 and 7, CentOS 6 and 7, and things like SUSE Linux, Oracle, Debian, and there's more and more of these coming all the time. As I mentioned at the start, we've also got those desktop apps as well. So within this ransomware kit, I've got remediation kits for all sorts, Word, Chrome, IE. So hopefully what you can take from this is that it's never been easier to both audit, score, fix, mitigate, remediate and then continuously track using Change Tracker. So it really is a complete cycle for curing and maintaining security for those machines. That's about it for today. The idea of the educational moment is that it's a pretty quick hit. So designed to go in 20 minutes. What I'm going to do is just have a look here at my what I've got back in the chats and questions. Yeah, a couple of people asking, will we provide the slides from this? We're actually recording these sessions, so there'll be a rerun. The key thing is what I would encourage you to do is either via the feedback form that you'll get when the webinar ends, or just by going to our NNT website. You can contact us, and if you fill in the general form or just email NNT support, yeah, just use this form. Say, I like the look of the configuration remediation kits. Can you send me that? If you're an existing customer, we'll just send you the template files. If you're new to NNT and you don't have Change Tracker installed at the moment, we give you a trial and we give you the remediation kit to try. And as I say, you can set this up just on a standalone machine, just have a very controlled demonstration for yourself. And if you like it, talk to us about more. We can also do a more in-depth demonstration if that's for your preference. But otherwise, thanks for that. I hope it worked well. I mean, if you want more than just an educational moment, let us know. But for the time being, we thought that like a 20-25 minute quick hit on a Friday afternoon, it's a bit of food for thought, bit of training if you've already got the software. But hope it was valuable. Have a great weekend, and please take us up on the offer of trialing or running the remediation kit. But thanks very much for your time.